Hello everyone. In this video I'm going to walk you through the process of putting together your IRB proposal. I do want to clarify that while you are fulfilling the requirement for this course to develop this proposal, you will not be submitting this proposal to the Chaminade IRB. In order to complete your research, it would take a lot longer than most of you still have left in your program. So you will be going through the process of completing your proposal using the forms for Chaminade, but you will not actually be submitting them to the IRB. In order to get started, I want you guys to open up the IRB, nope, not the assignments folder, I apologize. I want you to open up the IRB forms, and you will notice there is a whole bunch of forms here. I've enumerated them based on their importance and what you should read and in what order. What you will need for this activity, or what I'm going to walk you through, is how to complete Form 1 and 2. You don't need to open it, but I wanted to show you what it would look like, because what you need to do first is you need to make a copy of this. If you're using a PC, you right-click and say make a copy, and that would automatically pop up into this folder, and then you're going to need to move the copy of this document into your own folder, because the folder that it's currently in is generally available for everybody. You don't put your assignments in there. So you need to navigate, just like I did, into the IRB assignments folder, find your name. I'm going to put it under Rossler example, move here. All right. Now that I've done that, I should be able to go back to our general shared folder. And, oops, I'm sorry, that's not where I need to be. Student folders. You can see I've taught this course a number of times, so sometimes it bumps me into a different folder. IRB assignments. Inside the Rossler example folder, we have a copy of Form 1 and Form 2. I'm going to rename it in a second. I promise I clicked on the rename, because it's going to be mine now. Rossler IRB Proposal. Okay. Change the name and be good to go. Now, in this course, each week I have asked you to complete a draft that would help you actually complete this proposal. So in order to complete this, you should be doing a lot of copying and pasting from the different narratives that you've drafted this entire semester. To open this document, you're going to use a special program called DocHub. And so right here on this sheet, you're just seeing this blank thing where you can't actually click on anything. And DocHub allows you to fill PDFs just like any other PDF writer would, but it also allowed you to add additional text, which you will need to do because you need to add attachments to this document. So if you are using DocHub from your Chaminade University Google Drive email, DocHub should already be an application that's in as part of one of your apps that you can access. If it isn't, you need to go ahead and add that app because it'll allow you to do the activity that we're doing. Okay, so DocHub, edit, view, PDFs. Sorry this is taking so long. All right, we're going to create a duplicate just in case. And you will notice that you have a document that you can fill and type, just like a regular PDF filler. Okay, it's your responsibility as a student in this course to fill out all this information. What I'm going to try and do is give you some sneak peeks and some tips, some secrets on how maybe to fill in some information. All of this should be able to fill in without any question. You will check one of these boxes because you have completed human subjects training. That was one of the first assignments you did for this course. You are, of course, a student. Your projected dates of data collection, again, because this is simply a proposal, just put in an amount of time that you think would be appropriate. So if you were going to start collecting in June, when would be an appropriate end time? Or if you're not starting until the next student DOE calendar year, like how much time would you need to collect your data? Okay. Now, proposal summary, where would you find information of that? Well, during first week of this course, you actually participated in a discussion that had you describe your topic. This would be a place to actually go ahead and submit it, a couple, 3 sentences about the purpose and the rationale for your activity. What is it that you're doing and why is it important? Okay. Here, you're going to describe the methods and study procedures. You see this window is very small. You have about 3 sentences. Also, you just need to make sure that you copy and paste this from the proposed methods that you drafted in your assignments for this course. Finally, how you collect data. And this is a piece that a number of people often miss, okay? If coded, explain whether the code will be accessible or not. Are the participants going to be identified, de-identified, or coded? So are you going to have student names, or are you going to use different names, so like coded names or pseudonyms? Okay, that information needs to be completed. Check yes, no, or unsure. Most of you do not qualify for this, given that you are going to be working with vulnerable populations, otherwise known as children. So this information will likely not apply to you. If you are collecting data only from adults, or if you are collecting information that is in no way identifiable, you might qualify, but you need to read through and find out. Okay. Federal criteria for involving human subjects. So this is where you actually need to go back to the folder with the IRB forms in it. And you need to review the pre-proposal packet. Okay, the first topic is human subjects determination. Okay. On the second page, how do I know if I'm conducting research with human participants? You need to read through that and determine whether or not your research actually qualifies as human subjects research. Okay, and so if it does, you read through each of these and you check yes or no. I think every one of you is going to have at least yes in a couple of these because you are working with students and you're collecting data from them. Okay, scrolling down, information, all the same. Then you get to Form 2. This should look very similar. Okay, the first one is just kind of an executive summary. This page is where you really get to, fill in some of the details that you've drafted over the semester. Okay, again, this first page, a lot of repetitive information about you and your contact information. But then we get to the first written page and you provide an abstract. An abstract kind of gives a brief summary from, the purpose of your investigation, your research questions, your participants, data collection. It's like 1 or 2 sentences from each of the different narratives you've developed in order to give the reader kind of an overview of what you're doing and why it's important. Okay? Statement of research questions or hypothesis. Again, if we go back to the discussion from, back to the discussion from week 1, it says, please draft some research questions. What do you think what do you think your driving questions are for this investigation? So go ahead and, copy and paste information from there. Your research questions might have been revised since then, so put the revised questions in there. Risk classification, most of you will have minimal because you're not actually collecting samples like blood, which is, stuff like that. All right, introduction. This is a place where you can actually put in information related to your literature review about this topic. So, anything that you put into that first literature review, so some background information about the topic, this is how you introduce it. Specific aims, what is it that you propose to get out of this? This box does not need to be completely filled, but what are you proposing to get out of this? Why is this research important, and what would the outcomes actually provide for education? Methods and data collection, okay? Giant box here. Now, if you have continued to edit and revise your writing from your narratives each week, you should be able to copy and paste your data collection and analysis narratives and just drop them right in here. There shouldn't be a lot of things that you need to do. If you haven't gone back and incorporated the feedback, you need to do that before you put it in here, because regardless, I'm going to go back and look at those documents and be like, okay, so I still have the first draft of this information. You need to put in the revised information. Okay? Potential risks, what are some of the risks to the subjects as well as what are some of the benefits? You notice small boxes, don't go overboard, but let the IRB know what it is that you think might be risks. So risks of possibly being identified. But then that being said, you have an opportunity to talk in a couple boxes about how you're going to abate those risks. Okay. Again, most of you are going to hit children and minors. Okay. If you are collecting information from your own students, you also have to click this box. Okay. Recruitment plan. Who are your subjects going to be, and how are you going to get access to them? Okay, so please answer these questions. Again, not a giant box, but go back to your participants narrative and like look at who they are and how you're going to identify them and how are you going to ask them to participate in your study. Okay, this is something that we haven't addressed in the narrative. If your participants are going to be your students, so if you checked both children and minors and students, if you check the students box, what are you going to do to make sure that your students have free will whether or not to participate, that it is voluntary? Okay, confidentiality, how are you going to keep the information about students confidential, so age, gender, name, stuff like that. Then how are you going to keep information private? Okay, so if students are sharing information with you, in their responses, how are you going to keep that information private from the other participants or from other people? Additionally, data security. So if you are going to collect information in surveys or surveys, either electronic or paper and pencil, where are you going to put this information and how are you going to make sure that other people don't have access to it? Consent, everybody's going to have consent and you will definitely have it documented. And then exemption categories. If we go back to the IRB forms folder, there is a specific document called exemptions category. You will need to read through it to determine whether or not you have exempt research. All right, that was the most challenging part. The rest of this is super duper easy. Okay, if you look at the bottom of this form, it says you need to attach the following: a copy of your certificate of human subjects. How do you do that? Well, up here on the left hand side, there's a button called Page Controls. You click on that, and down here you will see a button that says Add Pages, Merge Documents. If you are going to add a PDF, a Word document, or some other sort of file, not a Google Doc, you are going to insert and merge a file, and then you are allowed to navigate your whole computer in order to do that. So the same certificate that you uploaded week 1, you would merge and insert a file, and it'll let you pick a file from your computer. However, most of you have a copy of your informed consent form that is in the Google Drive. So if we're going to do a Google Drive document, you need to insert a blank page. Okay, when you insert a blank page, you can do anything that you want with it. You can write all over it, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to my IRB assignments folder. Sorry, there's a delay here. Rossler example file. Oop, that's not what I wanted. And I am going to go ahead and open my consent form. When I open my consent form, I'm going to copy all of the text from my consent, and you will do this for both consent and assent. And I'm going to paste it into this blank document. Now, in order to paste it, you need to create a text box. And I just clicked on the A for a text box, and then I'm going to paste it. Now, I have this giant window, and I'm going to resize it. So give me a second. Okay, now in order to resize it, I've got to grab the top bar and just drag it in. I'm going to reposition it. And if we scroll down, fits all on one page, so that's groovy. All right, again, if you need to add any other documents, so let's see, you need to add a copy of your data collection instruments. Again, if that is a Word document or a PDF, you can just go ahead and merge that file. If it's a Google Doc, do exactly the same thing that I just did by creating a blank page and copying and pasting that information in. So that would be surveys, observation protocols, things of that nature. And we're going to skip the required conflict of interest form because that's not important to what you guys are doing here. So in this video, I have reviewed how to make a copy of the IRB form in 1 and 2 and how to put that in your own folder. And then I showed you how to open that, or rename and then open that document using Google Docs. And then finally, I've tried to instruct you on how to find information from the different documents that you've created this term and go ahead and put them into the proposal forms, and how then to add pages to your forms 1 and 2 so that you have a complete proposal for submission. Hope this helps, and good luck with your proposal.